Hey there, wedding planners and designers. Are you booking weddings but are still struggling to see a real profit? I know the feeling because I've been there. When I transitioned from nursing to wedding planning and designing, I thought I was making money until tax season hit. And then I realized I was actually losing money. The problem was, and it took me a little while to figure this out, the problem was I was not tracking my expenses. In today's video, I'll show you how knowing your expenses can transform your business from just barely getting by to actually growing. So first, let me say, knowing your expenses is a part of helping you to price your services. In pricing your services, one, you have to pay yourself first. Two, you need to know your expenses. You have to know your tax responsibilities. And then you also have to, in pricing your services, price for profit. Just put that into your prices and don't try to wait until you've paid all your expenses like the old business model and hopefully there's a profit at the end. So again, knowing your expenses is a part of pricing your services. As I said, when I first transitioned from nursing to being a wedding designer, I was booking clients okay, and I felt like I was making progress. But when tax season rolled around, the numbers just was not there. I took a hard look at my numbers and then just realized, like, girl, you ain't doing as well as you think you're doing. After accounting, and I didn't notice from the beginning, after accounting for all the expenses, venue visits, client gifts, team payments, software, and travel, I was working all those long hours for nothing. And the problem was I was not tracking my expenses. I was so focused on booking weddings that I just didn't even realize that I was leaking money. And in all fairness, in the beginning, I did not have a business background. I had a healthcare background. In the beginning, I didn't know that I needed to track expenses. But even after I learned that, yeah, you need to know your expenses and you need to track them. Even after I learned that, the task it seemed so daunting. I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to do that. I'm just not going to do it. And you know how we do. Lord, please help me with this. God, I don't want to do it. Show me a better way. Well, if you're in business, it's the only way. Take your time. Let's get it done. If you know better, you do better. Find yourself in a hole, stop digging. So let's get up out of this hole. And what I've learned is once I started, this made me feel so much better about myself and actually being in business. Once I made up my mind, okay, I'm going to take my time. I'm going to do this bit by bit. I'm going to figure out these expenses. I'm going to get my numbers. I'm going to write them down. And once I figured out my expenses and I started to manage that thing, that's when I began to see a real profit and stop focusing so much on design and pleasing the client and started focusing on the financial piece of the business. That's when that was the key to running a profitable business. So let's get started. Don't wait until the end of the year to try to figure out where your money went and why you didn't earn as much. You was working so hard. Why I didn't earn as much as let's just get it done. And when someone asks me to do something, I want to know why. And it's like, just make this make sense. Why do I need to do this? Okay, I'm going to tell you. I had to find out the hard way, but you don't have to. Here you go. As I said, the problem was the reason I wasn't one part of the reason was I wasn't earning any money is because I wasn't tracking expenses. Let's see if I can get this light. Maybe. Okay. I was not tracking my expenses. If I wasn't tracking my expenses, I have no idea on how to price my services. That's number one. Okay. Number two. This is why you need to track your expenses. It is crucial for several reasons. First, if you're not tracking your expenses, you have no idea whether you're running a profitable business or not. Pricing. You have to know your expenses in order to price your services. Otherwise, you're just kind of going in a circle. Number two, it helps you with budgeting and cash flow. Cash flow, that is the amount of money coming in your business and the amount of money going out of your business. If you have more money via expenses going out of your business than what's coming in your business, which is income, soon, if you have more money going out than coming in, you are going to be out of business. And knowing your expenses helps you track this. Decision making. As a business owner, you have to make informed decisions. Okay, I really want that new vase, but do I have enough cash in the till to buy it? Is it okay for me to now bring on additional help? Knowing your expenses help you make these kind of business decisions. Tax prep. If you're taking care of it monthly, on a weekly basis, you know exactly what your expenses are. At the end of the year, it's type, print, and you're done. Deductions. Again, I'm not a tax attorney. I'm not a tax advisor. School of Hard Knocks. The more deductions you have, the less, technically, the less taxes you have to pay on your income. So it helps with tax prep and deductions. And finally, financial stability and growth. It helps you set financial goals. It also helps you identify areas where you can cut costs. The less expenses you have, the more your profitability rises. So knowing your expenses, if you don't know what they are, you don't know where you can cut, you don't know where the money is going, you just be bleeding money, okay, all over the place. So here are the reasons why it's important in business to know your expenses. One more time, one more again. Profitability and pricing, budget and cash flow, decision making, tax prep and deductions, and finally, financial stability and growth. If you're in business, you have to know what your expenses are. For me, I have about 14 to 15 different categories of expenses. And it took me a few weeks to do it. Again, it was daunting. So just take your time with it. Take one category at a time, maybe one or two a day, and then get your subcategories. And what each subcategory, then you put your price next to it and you will know what your expenses are. And that will help you in pricing your services and then help you in all these other areas as well. A couple of weeks ago, we started on the process. I covered 3 areas. I'm going to go back, review those 3 areas, and then we're going to talk about 4 more. And hopefully by next week, we can go through all the categories. And the reason that I'm just doing 3 or 4 at a time is so that you can document this and then go back. A lot of us work outside the home, so we don't have a trillion hours in a day. Step by step, little by little, and before you know it, you'll have it done. So going back to where we started, in no particular order, last week we talked about accounting and legal. Some of the things that come under accounting and legal are your business license, your business entity filing, accountant fees, accountant software, You have an attorney, QuickBooks, all that comes under accounting and legal. Bank charges, like your merchant services, any any interest charges, if you still pay for checks or cashier checks, all that stuff. Car expenses, maintenance, gas, tolls, parking, tires, insurance, repairs, all that comes under car. Look at your car. Look at your car expenses, document them, fuel, and then calculate so you'll know exactly how to charge each of your clients a portion of those expenses. That's how that works. And so we stopped at car last week. So now this week we're going to go into client decorations. I'm going to say a little bit about client decorations. You may not be a designer, but you may offer that services with decorations as well. I'm a designer, so I decorate. But your client decorations, that is also known as cost of goods sold. I'm going to tell you this. Come a little closer, I'm going to let you know. When I first started, I'm going to tell you, I didn't know any better. What I did, 100% of the money I was taking in went to client decorations. Now, it does not take a genius to know that if I spent every dollar that a client gives me on client decorations, I cannot operate a business. I'm just doing it for free, right? Once I started breaking these categories down and knowing, like, in business, you have expenses and your clients have to cover those expenses. So when they give you money to decorate, all of it cannot go to decorations. You got to pay yourself. You got to pay these bills. So what I've learned from getting my expenses down is that for my client decorations, flowers, vases, all that stuff, I cannot go over 30%. If I do, I'm not going to be able to pay myself and I'm not going to be able to manage my expenses nor put a profit into the till. Okay. So knowing your expenses help you make good business decisions. And that was a bad decision, spending 100% on client decoration. But I was working out. I had my regular 9 to 5. So I didn't see no problem with that. But yeah, it is a problem if you got a business. All right. Next up, dues and subscriptions. If you pay under this category, I consider this anything I pay like a yearly prescription or monthly prescriptions for, such as my CRM, my customer management system. That's a monthly bill. Annually, a subscription would be like my website. As a designer, I use Canva to create content. That's a monthly fee. Let's see. Oh, storage unit. I have a storage unit that I pay for monthly. Have to have somewhere to put all those decorations, right? Dropbox. I use Dropbox to store all my images. Oh, insurance and liability, and my GoDaddy domain. So anything that you pay dues or subscriptions for on a monthly or yearly basis should be in this category. Home office. I'm going to remind you again that I am not a tax attorney, tax consultant, tax preparer, anything like that. It's just all from the School of Hard Knocks. Home office. What I do understand from just living is your home office, it has to be used specifically for that purpose in order to take a tax deduction. But that's separate from expenses. But your home office, you do have some expenses that come under that. It would be like your office equipment, computers, printers, shredders, any cameras, furniture, carpeting, lighting, all that goes under there. So if you have a home office and any like your power, just that portion, your office portion, that is something that is deductible and you can consider that an expense. Check with your tax prepare about that. Next up would be labor. We all need help in this business. Anytime you have a business, we just cannot do it by ourselves. So any contractor services or salaries that you pay go under labor. Uh, you can start paying your spouse to help. They help anyway for free. Just give them a little something, something on the side. You can pay your older children to help if you can. You know, that falls under labor. And then finally, for today, we'll cover some more categories next week. Will be professional development. Any books, and we should always be growing, not only working on our craft, but also learning different things about businesses, being in business or running a business. So professional development would be things like any e-courses, any courses, any seminars, all that falls under professional development. In closing, just know that tracking your expenses is just not something, it's just not a task, something to do. It's very important. Tracking your expenses, as I said before, it helps you price your services. It helps with profitability. It helps you to make good business decisions, tax prep, all that. And once you do that, you will definitely feel more in control. Not just feel in control, but you will be in control of your business. And again, if you need help identifying and calculating what those expenses are, look in the description and get my online pricing tool. It'll help you get through this fairly easily. Just stay tuned for next week's video where I'm going to try to finish up these categories. I only have like a few left, and then there's not a whole lot of subcategories under each of those. But until next time, work on it, little bites at a time. Get your main category, and then on your subcategories, attach a price to it, and you can put it in an Excel spreadsheet. If you want to do it on paper and pencil, you can. And there are probably some other online tools out there that you can use, but just be sure to do so. What was QuickBooks will help with that as well. But you have to do the work initially in the beginning because QuickBooks have no idea what your expenses are. Okay. And one thing that you could do too, if you have tax information and you filed it before, just look at your tax documents from last year, and that will help you figure out what your categories are. And then it'll also help you figure out somewhat what your pricing was, what it cost you last year. Probably your prices won't go up too much this year. It may, just because of what's going on in the U.S. with all the tariffs and stuff, everything's going up. But at least you'll know what those categories are, and you would know that you have to price for them. Okay, so until next time, take care. Don't forget to like, subscribe, put on the notifications so that you will catch my next video. Thank you and see you next time. Have a good day. Goodbye.